Hi, my name is Matthew Belisario. Welcome to another edition of the Belisario Sonic YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk about collecting vintage records because a lot of people nowadays are focused on reissues, and for a good reason. A lot of the reissues sound very good. A lot of the remasters from the original master recordings often sound better than the originals. And in some cases, you have no choice other than to get the reissues. And especially, I'm going to be talking about jazz today. And when it comes to jazz records, a lot of the Blue Notes and Riverside and Impulse, those sought after titles, a lot of times are hundreds running into the thousands of dollars if you can find them in good shape even. So they're very expensive and very hard to come by. So yes, if you're collecting some of those labels, Blue Note, you're going to have to get the reissues unless you're a rich person, okay? But one thing that is greatly overlooked are the jazz records that are on other labels that are much easier to find, such as RCA Victor, Columbia, even Verve. You can find a lot of great jazz records for less than you can find some of the repressings, and many of them you're never going to find on a repressing. And I want to emphasize that because there is so much good music that's overlooked in the jazz genre that will never get a reissue. It just never will. And I want to talk about a great find. I'm gonna show you some different records that I bought recently that were great purchases, just to maybe get you thinking about looking at some other things to collect in record collecting, because it's not just about how much the record's worth. It's not, about the collectability. I know there's some people out there that look at their record collection like it's a bank account. I'm not one of those people. Sure, it's nice to have ones that oh wow, I can't believe I got that one and it's worth this. But for me, it's about listening to it. I'm not ever going to take an album and buy it and stick it on the shelf sealed and leave it there so that I can tell everybody I got a $500 record. I just don't care about that. And to me, it baffles me how people, people, I guess, you just collect to collect. I guess, hey, you pick something you're mildly interested in and it's worth money and whatever. But for those who really love the music and want to listen to great music, you can expand your horizons out and take a look at some things that you'll never find on a reissue. One of those things I recently found was this great treasure, RCA Victor, 1956 10-inch pressings, as the Encyclopedia of Recorded Jazz. These are in great shape. Almost all of them are in excellent to near mint shape, and some great jazz. These are averaging around $5 a record. And you can find them either in a set. I happen to find this as a set at a very good price. I think I paid, with shipping, $40 for the entire 12 record set. So even if you were to pay the $5 a piece or $4 a piece at $12, for under $60, you can get the whole set if you just look hard enough, and over time you can go online and you'll end up finding them all. Or you might find them at a local record shop or at a yard sale or someplace else. But if you're interested in jazz, and what makes this this collection so nice is the broad spectrum of artists you're going to get. On this one, you get Red Allen, Albert Emmons, Louis Armstrong, Buster Bailey, Mildred Bailey, Charlie Barnett, Count Basie, and the great Sidney Bechet. So you've got all these great songs on here and great artists, about 5 songs on each side. But what you're also getting on the back is an encyclopedia of the artist and the song. So, for example, on this particular record, you get a little write-up on Sidney Bechet, right? In this particular song, Nobody Knows the Way I Feel This Morning. It says, few jazz musicians have even dared attempted the soprano saxophone. Only one has achieved great fame with it, Sidney Bechet. The seemingly ageless virtuoso was born in New Orleans in 1897. Bechet played clarinet in the early New Orleans and Chicago bands, and has shuttled between Europe and this country almost continuously since the 20s. He is now probably France's favorite American entertainer. This 1940 selection, which also features trumpeter Sidney de Paris, shows to advantage Bechet's colorful style with its rich, amazingly full vibrato. So this is a pretty cool thing for $5. You're never going to get this on a reissue. Your RCA Victor or Sony, who I think Sony owns RCA now, they're never going to put this back out probably as a 10-inch set. and you can get them for $5 and get great music. So it's just kind of get you thinking out there if you're kind of stuck in a certain mindset in collecting vinyl records, and it can be in any genre. But when it comes to jazz, if you're looking at listening to great jazz that aren't available on reissue necessarily, or even if they are, you might pay more money for a reissue, you can find some great things. Another cool thing I want to show you about this are the advertisement inserts that came with this record, just because I love history, music history, and these are really cool. This came with the original catalog insert, and the greatest names in jazz complete in 12 albums. Again, this is 1956 this came out, and originally these went for 99 cents a piece. Pretty cool stuff. Here's another of the advertisements. And jazz music and the blues, to me, really is the original American music. It really is the only music that's purely American, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, you can go back to the string bands, of course, the Appalachian string bands and that kind of stuff that kind of went to the country genre, and certainly that's kind of, you know, the flip side of the jazz and the blues, which I think also falls in the category of American music. But I think a lot of the string bands had a more of an influence from Europe than possibly you have from the jazz and the blues. And of course, you'd have no rock and roll without jazz and blues either. But so I just wanted to go through real quick and just show you this set, just the 12 covers of these, and I'll pull out one of the records and show you that as well. But just to give you an idea of you know, there's a lot of cool stuff out there that if you keep your eyes open, you'll find in all genres of music. When it comes to classic rock and things like that, I will buy reissues, but most of the time I can find the original for less than the reissue on most of them. And to me, most of them sound better or just as good as the reissue on classic rock stuff. I think jazz stuff's a little bit different. You'll find a little more effort goes into their reissues on the jazz side, that they're going to look for the original master tapes, and they're really going to take their time and find somebody good to remaster them. While you will find that on some classic rock records, I just don't think the care is taken quite as much with most of the classic rock stuff. So in my opinion, with classic rock stuff, I still kind of have a propensity to look for original stuff. I have most of the stuff in classic rock since I've collected over the years. With jazz, not so. I didn't get into jazz until in my late 20s. And then started collecting jazz records little by little, and I've become more and more interested in jazz over the years, to where now most of the records I'm buying now are jazz records. So just showing you a couple of these records here, 10-inch records. I bought these black inner sleeves to house these in, just because they were stuck straight into that cardboard. And amazingly enough, it looks like most of them weren't played very often and pulled in and out, so most of them aren't too scratched up. But here's album number 6, just to give you an idea of some of the artists that are on the set. So if you're interested in the history of recorded jazz, this is a great set to go out and look for, even if you got to buy them one at a time at $4 or $5 a piece. Just great listening experience. And a lot of times, to me, these are more fun to me to find than getting the reissues, just because it's an original pressing, 1956. It's like the whole history goes with it of the times back during the mid-50s, when jazz was still popular, even being played on the radio, and people were still collecting and buying these and listening to them. And so some of the vintage, the fun that goes along with collecting vintage records, to me, is what makes record collecting fun. It's not just about, oh, I got the $100 reissue. And I'm all about listening experience as well. So I love it when they don't have one tick on them, one crackle, any surface noise. Don't get me wrong, that's important to me. I do love getting the reissues that are like that. But part of the fun is getting the original Anita O'Day on Verve for $12. Sounds great. I don't think this has ever been reissued to my knowledge. Anita O'Day, All the Sad Young Men. This was like 15 bucks. Perfect shape. Sounds great. Just another great find. One of the Billie Holidays I found recently that I bought this one and Lady in Satin for 100 bucks. Original 6 eyes in perfect shape. Almost not one crackle on here. If you were to get a reissue of this, you'd pay about the same price. Original 6 eye Columbia. Blues for Tomorrow on Riverside, 5 bucks. Compilation, unreleased versions of the blues played by top modern jazz artists. So, I mean, great finds here. Claude Thornhill. No one probably knows who Claude Thornhill is unless you're really into jazz. Original 6 eye label, almost in perfect shape. Hardly played, 5 bucks. Couple of library finds from a local record store, 6 bucks. 6 eye Columbia, J.J. Johnson Quintet, recorded in concert. Pretty good sound quality, a little bit of surface noise, 6 bucks. Original 6 eye Columbia. Herbie Green, Bethlehem pressing. I think this one was 10 bucks. Great shape. Some great jazz on the Bethlehem label. Check out the original. You know, stuff like this, it to me is just fun to collect, and it's great music. You go put it on there, and I've never even heard of this guy before. I saw it there, and I was like, you know, I'm going to pick it up. Put it on the record, on the turntable. Great music. Listen to the blues with Jimmy Rushing. 6 bucks. Another library. You know, they put tape on the edges of the library ones to keep them from getting destroyed, from being checked in and out of the library. But here you go. 6 bucks. And an old Sarah Vaughan record. This one was 7 bucks. Not in the best, not in the shape that I would prefer. I would say it's like a very good plus, maybe a little below that. Little places you got some ticks and stuff like that. But overall, it sounds pretty great. Pretty fun listening experience. And for 7 bucks, I don't think this has ever been repressed. This particular one on the Allegro Royal record label. And just check out the record label. 7 bucks. So this is just to kind of give you, just to maybe get you thinking about some other things to do in record collecting. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't cost you a ton of money. Any kind of repressing you're going to find out there nowadays is going to be at least 20 bucks. Even the cheap European jazz imports are going to be 15. I can pick up the Sarah Vaughan for, you know, 7 or 10, or any of these here were under $10. They're all in good shape, just nobody knows who they are. And these particular ones will probably never be on a repressing. So there's a lot of good music out there. I guess the point I'm trying to make, there's still a lot of good finds, a lot of good things to be had out there when you're collecting records, no matter what genre. I know I'm focusing on jazz today, but even in the classic rock stuff, a lot of times you're going to find even those 80s records, original pressings, the repressings come out, they're 25, 30 bucks. I can go get an original for $8 to $10 in perfect shape if I look hard enough, put it on my list. Whenever I go different places, I keep them on my list and look for them. Eventually, I'll find them. So, anyways, I just wanted to kind of share that with you. To me, the joy of collecting original pressings or vintage records, if you will, to me, it's a lot of fun. You get great listening experience, and you also have that historical connection back to the person who originally bought the record and got great joy out of it. Now it's getting handed down to you, and somebody else is probably going to have it after you. So, all right, take care, and we'll talk to you on the next show. Happy Labor Day to everybody.